Okay, slight little delay there. Sorry, some people were talking to me, so I had to actually stop recording. So my apologies for that little halt, but I'm back to it. So look, ethical decision making is really based on three key things: utilitarian norms, rights, and justice. So utilitarian norms are really about the powers that be. It's the practical side of things. So it supports the organisational goals. It's there to minimise external costs, and it's to ensure that personal interests do not jeopardise the organisational goals. Then of course you have rights, and rights exist everywhere. It's about the rights of the individual to have safety, that their private details are protected unless they give permission for them to be given to other people. Speech, they can say what they like about the game, or within reason, so it's not having verbal abuse. But if they can say that they didn't enjoy the game, or they didn't enjoy that particular refereeing, yes, people have the right to do that, but they don't have the right to be abusive, because then the rights of the referees or the umpires are not being protected. And they also have the right to ensure that their property is protected. And then there's justice, so that there's fair treatment, administration of the rules, compensation if there need be, blame if there's someone's done the wrong thing, then the right person is actually blamed, and that there is a due process. So all this sounds fine, but what does the sports manager do? How does he actually make this happen? Well, quite often what you find that within codes of conduct, which many sporting organisations have, they'll have anti-corruption clauses. It will include everything from players, coaches, officials, spectators and members. What you'll find now is with a lot of sporting organisations, they're starting to administer some sort of penalty, code, fine, whatever you like to call it, for spectators who are a bit unruly and do the wrong thing, and trying to get them out of there. And of course we have a judiciary system. Now I'm sure that most of you, or some of you, have fronted a judiciary system before. I certainly have. In fact, I can actually put my hand up to say that I've been on both sides of the judiciary. One having actually had to go in front of them as a player, and the other as a panel member who had to decide on a number of cases that were being heard. But when you have a proper process, especially a judiciary system, what it does is it encourages people to speak out, because they actually know that something will be done about it. So within a judiciary, what you've got to make sure is that you gather the facts for the decision, and that the action or the course of action you take is really acceptable according to three criteria: utility, that it doesn't optimise benefits for one party over another, that the rights, it respects the rights of those involved, and that justice, that there is fair action, so the action that is taken is fair to both parties. And you need to consider what the overriding decision will be, and what sort of impact this might have on the sport, the people involved, and publicly as well. So you've got to be very careful about how you manage these things. Okay, the one thing that I want you to do is I'm actually going to put on the web for you some scenarios, and I want you to think about how you would deal with those scenarios. So I'm going to give you 5 ethical guidelines that are direct behaviour. They come from Lasnak and Murphy, and I'll give you the reference on the website. But basically they say that there are 5 rules which tell you exactly what you're going to do. So the first one's a golden rule, and I'm sure you're told that one as a kid. You do to others what you would want people to do to you. The next one's the utilitarian principle: act in a way that results in the greatest good for the greatest number, and that's certainly what a sporting organisation would be doing. They were looking to maximise outcomes for stakeholders, particularly their members. Kant's categorical imperative is to act in such a way that the action taken under the circumstances would be a universal rule of behaviour. So what that's basically saying is that that's something that society accepts as the norm, and so it would be expected that that's what you would do. I wonder if you can hear the plane that's flying overhead. Where I am, there's actually an airport, so that might give you another little hint. On the south coast, there's not many beachy places that actually have airports with them as well. The next thing is the professional ethic, which you take on the actions that would be viewed as proper by an impartial panel of your peers. So what that means is if your professional colleagues think that what you're doing is just and fair and they would have taken the same course of action, then that ticks that box. And the last one, and the most important one, is the TV test. So you act in a manner that you would feel comfortable explaining to a national television audience. So if you had to explain to the whole world exactly what you did and why you did it, that you would be game enough to stand up there and do that, and without hesitation. So 5 principles: golden rule, utilitarian principle, Kant's categorical imperative, the professional ethic, and the TV test. Now I've put all of those on the website along with a couple of scenarios, and then we can go through them next week. But ideally what I'd like you to be able to do is feel comfortable enough that you could apply one of those principles, rules to it, and justify it, because that'll definitely be one of the exam questions as well. Okay, signing off to you from the coast, one of my favourite spots, and see you soon.